All right, so get this. OpenAI's dropped this new model, and everyone is, like, losing their minds over it.
Yeah, it's creating quite a buzz, isn't it?
Totally.
Okay.
But then you sent over this article by Fuad Maya, Beyond the Dots. OpenAI's leap forward in reasoning. But is it all new? And he's saying this tech, it's not actually brand new.
Right.
So what gives? What's the real deal here?
You're right. It's not like OpenAI just pulled something completely out of thin air. The thing is, how they're using these existing ideas, that's what has everyone talking.
Okay, so like what? Give me an example.
Chain of thought, for one,
Yeah.
and reflective reasoning. It's light years ahead of anything we've seen.
Okay, gotta be honest. Chain of thought, that just sounds like dot thinking. You know,
It does, doesn't it?
break it down for me.
It sounds so simple, but we're talking about teaching AI to think, like step by step, the way we solve problems. This is different. AI used to be all about recognizing patterns, but this is about breaking down complex tasks, analyzing each piece, putting it all together.
So it's less about just spitting out an answer based on a hunch. It's more like showing your work.
Exactly. And that's where reflective reasoning comes in.
Okay.
Picture this. The AI is solving some crazy complex math problem. But instead of just giving you the answer, it walks you through every single calculation, every decision it made along the way.
Hold on. So it's like explaining its thought process as it goes.
Yeah.
That is huge for like debugging or even catching those AI blunders we've all heard about.
You got it. This transparency, it's a game changer. But it gets even wilder. This model, it can actually self-improve.
Okay, now you're just messing with me. How does an AI like self-improve? That's not like some sci-fi robot takeover movie.
Not quite that dramatic. Think of it more like a student cramming for a test, you know?
Right.
This AI uses something called reinforcement learning. Basically, it learns by doing, gets feedback, and then based on what works, it adjusts its approach.
So it's constantly practicing and getting better. But does Mia give us any like concrete examples
Yeah.
of how much better this new model is? Because anyone can say their AI is the next, Einstein.
Oh, he gives proof.
Okay, good.
In coding competitions, the previous model, it scored a pretty dismal 808 rating, put it way down in the 11th percentile of, get this, human competitors.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Not winning any coding awards with that score.
Exactly. But get this new model, 1807 rating. That puts it in the 93rd percentile.
Hold on. So from like not even competing to beating out most human coders.
Yeah.
That's a massive jump. But let's be real, most of us aren't, coding for a living.
Right.
What about something a bit more relatable? Like what can this AI do?
Take math. In math competitions, the new model's accuracy, it jumped from a measly 13.4% to, get this, 83.3%.
Wow.
And it's not just about processing power or anything. It's this new approach, this ability to think strategically. That's the real difference maker here.
Okay, that's some pretty mind-blowing stuff. But before we get, too carried away with all the technical jargon, let's bring it back down to earth for a sec.
Yeah, good point. It's easy to get lost in the weeds.
Exactly. So for our listener who's probably thinking, cool, robots are getting good at math, what's in it for me? What's like the one thing they should take away from this first dive into OpenAI's new model? All right, so we've established that this new OpenAI model can code circles around most humans and probably ace our math homework.
Yeah, it's a real powerhouse.
But what does this mean for the average person who's not, building the next tech unicorn or solving complex equations?
It's the question on everyone's mind, isn't it? The truth is, the potential applications of this technology go way beyond just winning coding competitions or solving for pi.
Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's dive into some specifics. What kind of fundamental shift are we talking about here?
Imagine having an AI partner in scientific research, one that can analyze mountains of data and contribute meaningfully to the research itself.
So it's not just about crunching numbers, it's about actual creative collaboration between humans and AI.
Precisely. And this kind of collaboration could revolutionize fields beyond science. Imagine writers working with AI assistants who don't just correct grammar, but actively help shape narratives, develop characters, and even generate different creative text formats like poems, code, scripts, you name it. All with a depth of understanding that was previously unimaginable.
Wow, that's a whole new level of AI assistance. But this all sounds very futuristic. Does Mia give any clues about what this could look like in a more everyday setting?
Absolutely. Think about education. Imagine a world where every student has access to a personalized AI tutor that adapts to their learning pace, identifies their weak spots, and generates custom practice problems. This isn't just about making learning more efficient, it's about making it more engaging and effective for everyone.
Okay, now that's something I can get behind. This all sounds incredibly promising. But let's be real. There's always another side to every coin. And I know Maya's article touched on some of the concerns surrounding this level of AI advancement, right?
You're absolutely right. It wouldn't be a responsible deep dive if we just focused on the sunshine and rainbows.
So let's address them. What are some of the potential downsides that people are worried about?
One of the biggest concerns is the potential impact on the workforce.
It's the classic robots taking over fear, but it feels a lot more real now. It's not just about factory automation anymore. It's about AI potentially replacing jobs that require creativity and critical thinking, things we always assumed were safe.
And that's why it's crucial to have these conversations now, while this technology is still evolving. We need to be proactive about preparing for a future where AI plays a significant role in the workforce, and that includes thinking about things like retraining programs, new economic models, and a safety net for those who might be displaced.
This is all getting pretty heavy, but it's important stuff. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and hope it all works out. So, where do we go from here? What's the next step? Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It's been quite a journey, right, exploring this new OpenAI model.
It really has.
We've covered the tech, the potential, even some of the, anxieties around AI getting a little too smart.
A lot to unpack, for sure, but that's what deep dives are for, right?
Right, but I think what our listeners really want to know, what does this mean for them? What's the so what?
Mia really hit the nail on the head in his article. He said, the future of AI isn't just in developing new models, but in enhancing how they process tasks
Okay.
through orchestrated, multi-step reasoning, self-reflecting, and the ability to self-improve.
Okay, that's a mouthful. Break it down for us regular folks.
Think of it this way. We used to think that AI getting smarter was just about, bigger data sets, faster processing, like building a bigger calculator.
Right, just brute force like number crunching.
Exactly. But what we're seeing now, it's a shift towards AI that can actually reason,
Okay.
break problems down, learn from mistakes, even get better on their own. That's what he's getting at.
So it's not just that they're getting faster, it's like they're actually starting to think more like we do.
Yeah, and that's what's both, exhilarating but also a little unnerving, right?
Yeah.
Like those sci-fi movies where the robots become self-aware.
Right.
You're not there yet.
But this is definitely a step in that direction.
It is.
And that's got to come with some serious questions, like how do we make sure this technology is used for good?
And that's the key takeaway. I hope our listeners walk away with this. Don't just read the headlines and, get swept up in the hype or the fear.
Right.
Stay informed, ask questions, and engage in conversations about the future you want to see. Because the future of AI, it's not some predetermined fate, We're all shaping it right now with every choice we make.
So no pressure, listener.
Yeah.
But the future of AI is kind of in your hands.
A little bit.
If you had to leave our listener with one final thought, one nugget of wisdom to chew on, what would it be?
Stay curious. This field is changing so rapidly. What we think is impossible today, it might be old news tomorrow. So don't be afraid to dive in, learn, and form your own opinions. Because you've listened to this whole deep dive. You're already ahead of the game.
That's a great point to end on. And hey, listener, if you have any thoughts on this new AI landscape, send them our way. We are always up for another deep dive.